Good morning. We will begin our service with the ringing of the temple bell. At this time, please silence your cell phones and listen quietly, as the sounding of the conch show is an invitation to settle our hearts and minds as we prepare to receive the Dharma. Thank you.
Namandam, 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 namandam.
Aloha, and thank you for joining us today for Eshinni and Kakushinni service, either in person or virtually on Zoom. On this day, we honor Eshinni Sama, the wife of Shinran Shonin, the founder of Jodo Shinshu Hongonji tradition, and her dedication to Shinran. Also, their youngest daughter, Kakushinni Sama, who was Shinran's caregiver in his later years and who, 10 years after Shinran's passing, established a memorial hall for his remains. A resolution to establish an Eshinni Day was adopted in 1978 World Buddhist Convention in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Later, at the 8th World Buddhist Convention, Women's Convention, a resolution to promote world peace and to designate Eshinni Day as Peace Day was adopted. And in 2002, the World BWA passed a resolution to similarly honor Kakushinni Sama. Without the contribution of these extraordinary women, Jodo Shinshu Hongonji tradition would not exist. The BWA tradition continues, women playing a major role in the Hongonji temples around the world and in our communities by sponsoring this service. I am Mimi Bergstrom, and I will be serving as your MC. Assisting at the temple with technical support are Zoom crew members Alan Matsumoto, Wendy Terada, and Joey Guzman. Corinne Chong is our organist. Let us start the service with the offering of flowers by Blanche Hirashi and Molly Nakano. Offering of lights will be done by Hetty Casquillo Gray and Jack Nunberg. Please rise and let us chant the Vandana and Tisarana. Please chant both the Pali and English parts together with Reverend Blaine. Those of you on Zoom, be sure you have muted your mics.
Namanda, Vitsnamanda, 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 Vitsnamanda.
Please remain standing for an aspiration which will be shared by our President, Linda Nagai.
Let's put our hands together in Gasho. As we honor Eshinni and her daughter, Kakushinni, we reflect on lives shaped not by having all the answers, but by deep entrusting in the Nembutsu. In times of hardship and separation, Eshinni showed us how to live with honesty and gratitude, even when the world felt increasingly undependable. Through care, devotion, and quiet determination, Kakushinni ensured the light of the Nembutsu would continue to reach others beyond her own lifetime. May we, too, entrust ourselves to the boundless compassion of Amida Buddha, and in gratitude, care for one another and for the Dharma, so that the Nembutsu may continue to be shared for generations to come. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namandas. 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 Namandas.
Please be seated. It is now time for offering of the incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense if you wish. starting with the front rows and moving towards the back. Please use both incense burners. Let us observe a moment of silent meditation.
Namandab, 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 namandab.
Reverend Blaine will now lead us in chanting the sutra verses reaffirming the vow. Words can be found on the handout and on the screen and on page 117 in the Red Service book.
The Buddha of infinite light and life made vows to embrace all beings equally without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists and guides us to supreme awakening. The Ju-Seige, or verses reaffirming the vows, is a poetic summary of the basic intention of the 48 vows made by me, the Buddha, to attain supreme enlightenment, to save all who are suffering, and to declare universal liberation through the name Namo Amida Butsu. We chant the words of the Buddha as a reminder of these great vows made to awaken and to liberate all beings. The verses reaffirming the vows. I have made unrivaled vows and will reach the highest path. If I fail in any way, may I not attain Buddhahood. Should I not provide to all for countless kalpas to come, aid in times of suffering, may I not attain Buddhahood. I will reach enlightenment, but unless my Buddha name resounds throughout the universe, may I not attain Buddhahood. I will practice the noble path, wisely, mindfully, free of greed, seek to reach the supreme way, be a guide to one and all. May my power shine great light to illumine and dispel the darkness of the three poisons and save all from suffering. With eyes of wisdom I'll remove the darkness of ignorance. I will close all evil paths, open gates of highest good. When I attain Buddhahood, light will shine throughout all lands, light brighter than sun and moon, outshining all heavenly lights, giving my virtues to all, not forsaking anyone. I will proclaim the Dharma like the roar of a great lion, bowing before all Buddhas, steadfastly gaining virtues, with wisdom fulfilling my vows. I shall be a guide to all, like the wisdom of my teacher. May my wisdom also shine all throughout the universe and illumine one and all. If I shall fulfill these vows, may all lands tremble with joy. From the heavens wondrous flowers rain down upon all the land. Naman Namu. Naman Namu. virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namanav, 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 namanav.
Please rise for the singing of the Gatha, Ondoku-san, Gratefulness. Words can be found on the handout and on the screen. You may be seated. Today we are honored to have as our guest speaker Mrs. Wendy Nickl. Wendy was born in Honolulu and raised on the Big Island, where she attended Waiakea Elementary, Waiakea Intermediate, and Hilo High School. She later moved to Oahu to earn degrees in English literature and elementary education from University of Hawaii at Manoa. A dedicated educator, Wendy served as Hawaii public school teacher for 39 years. She began her career on Oahu and eventually returned to her Big Island roots to teach in Waimea and Kohala. Family is central to Wendy's life. She often shares that her wonderful husband and 3 children are her greatest joy. Though she was not raised in the Buddhist tradition, Wendy sought a faith-based community for her family that aligned with her personal values. In the late 1990s, a student invited her to Kohala Honganji, where she found her spiritual home. Today, she proudly serves as the Kyodan president. Since 2022, Wendy has been an active member of the Living Gratitude Project. Following her recent retirement from teaching, she accepted an invitation from Reverend Blaine Higa to serve on the Commission for Buddhist Education. For Wendy, studying Buddhism continues to be a joyful journey that helps her navigate the complexities of life. Thank you. Thank you for your Dharma message, Wendy. Okay.
Aloha kako. I am so happy to be with you all in Kealakekua today for the Konohonganji, Eshinni, and Kakushinni service. So everyone, please imagine a beautiful net in Upena in Hawaiian, joining us together in wonderful Konohonganji mission. In your imagination, you can make the net silver, gold, whatever color you want. We are all interconnected through belief in the Dembutsu in our Upena together. My name is Wendy Ann Hanako Nickl. I bring with me my Japanese ancestors from Yamaguchi and Kochiken, and my mom Naomi Nobuko Kawamura Tsutsui, and my dad Osamu Tsutsui, who inspired me to work hard and support my family. They are part of our Upena today, and I carry them and the rest of my ohana with me always. Who do you bring to your Upena? Do you bring your parents, grandparents, loved ones, and friends? I was born on Oahu and raised in Hilo and have resided for the past 34 years in Halaula, North Kohala. I've done some of my best work there, finding our forever home and raising 3 children and cats and a dog with my wonderful husband, Al. I retired last year from the DOE, Hawaii Department of Education, after 39 years of teaching. I have so much to be thankful for, including finding Jodo Shinshu Buddhism in my late 30s and meeting Reverend Blaine, who has encouraged me, more like nudged me, twisted my arm me, so to get more involved in Honganji of Hawaii practices and events like today. I was not raised in a Buddhist household. As a child, I attended bon dances, funerals, and memorial events, but that was the extent of my exposure to Buddhism. Al and I were living happy lives in Kohala with Mari and Jenna, and then later on, Cade. In my late 30s, I felt that our ohana needed to get religion, and we started looking for something that would match what we needed. At the same time, one of my 4th grade students, Jamie Hagio, told me in class, "Mrs. Nickl, you should come to Kohala Honganji. We have really good food," which we know is important to us locals in Hawaii, right? So we went, and yes, the food was very, very good. And the Nickl Ohana is still there at Kohala Honganji Mission 27 years later. So I need to add Jamie to our upena, to our net. Thanks, Jamie. And I would also like to add the Kona Honganji taiko drummers into our net. They are so wonderful, and they come to Kohala every year to beat the taiko rhythms for us at our Kohala Honganji Bon Dance. Thank you, Kona Honganji taiko. It's an honor to be with you all today, here in the beautiful Ahupua'a of Kealakekua. Kealakekua translated means the pathway of the god, Lono Ikamakahiki, and the area held major importance for agricultural, peace, and fertility rituals. We are embraced by this Aina Ui, this beautiful land, and being a Hawaii person does inspire me in my Jodo Shinshu travels. I have some other people to add to our upena today. Let's do a fast travel through time for my Eshinni and Kakushinni talk. Oh, yeah, Joe, thank you. Eshinni was the daughter of Miyoshi Tamenori, a samurai of high rank in Echigo, Japan. She was described as a refined and well-educated landowner and married our sex founder, Shinran Shonin. Shinran and Eshinni raised the family, while Shinran Shonin pursued spreading the Nembutsu teaching imparted by Honen Shonin. The teaching was to recite Namo Amida Butsu with deep faith, with Shinjin, and thus to be embraced by the great wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. In her later years, Eshinni had to leave Shinran and return to Echigo to take care of her land and the families living there. She never got to return to Shinran. However, despite the hardships, Eshinni's belief in the Nembutsu was unwavering. Kakushinni was the daughter of Eshinni and Shinran Shonin. She was 9 or 10 years old when she moved to Kyoto with Shinran Shonin and Eshinni. As an adolescent, Kakushinni served as a lady-in-waiting in the household of Kuga Michiteru, whose brother was Dogen, the founder of Zen Buddhism. So more connections to add to our net. Kakushinni took care of Shinran Shonin during his last years until he entered nirvana on January 16th, 1263, at the age of 90. In her second marriage, Kakushinni married Onomiya Zennen, who owned valuable property in Kyoto. In 1272, Shinran's ashes were moved to Zennen's estate. Dedicated and influential disciples of Shinran gave monetary donations to construct the ancestral hall that is there today. This is the nucleus of today's Jodo Shinshu Hongwanji Ha. So the ancestral hall belonged to Shinran's disciples from Kanto. Zennen then gave the property on which ancestral hall stood to Kakushinni. Kakushinni went beyond tradition. She decided that the land would be jointly owned by the disciples of Shinran Shonin. The Nembutsu teaching was revolutionary at that time. The primal vow of Amida Buddha embraced all. No one was excluded on the basis of class, gender, education, or other biases. So cool. Kakushinni may have made her decisions based on this understanding of equality that Shinran Shonin had taught. I am so grateful that Kakushinni embraced the idea that we are all included in Amida Buddha's primal vow. Last fall, I was lucky to make my first trip to Japan. At our Nishi Honganji in Kyoto, I stood on the land that Kakushinni gave. I was moved to tears by the sign that greets all temple visitors at the gate. And if you visited there, you may have seen that sign. Nishi Honganji, a place where you belong. This is a place that is open to all, where one can quietly spend time in reflection. So let's add Eshinni and Kakushinni to our upena. There are so many dynamic and significant women who, like Eshinni and Kakushinni, have forged pathways for our Jodo Shinshu faith. Another person to weave into our upena, Ruth Tabra, a Shin Buddhist minister, and she was also a member of the International Association of Shin Buddhist Studies. Last week, I was fortunate to attend our Hawaii Gisekai Legislative Assembly on Oahu. In addition to all the official goings-on, there was a free book table. You had me at free. I took home 2 short books written by Ruth Tabra And earlier this week, preparing to speak before you, I read a short article that Reverend Tabra wrote on how she found Buddhism. I'm not lying. I had a chicken skin Nembutsu moment as I read her words. It was like her experience paralleled my journey to Shin Buddhism. Ruth Tabra was raised as a Christian and moved to Kohala with her husband and family in her mid-30s. One night, she attended a bon dance at Kohala Jodo Mission. I believe that is Kapa'au Jodo Mission today. I was struck by these words she wrote, quote, Buddha, who seemed to be gesturing, come, come just as you are. Everyone seemed to feel completely at home. Amazingly, quite unexpectedly, I felt the same way, as if I had found the place where I belonged, end quote. That's how I feel about Buddhism, and I am heartened when I hear over and over again in all of our temples, come, just as you are. I heard those words at Gisekai last week, come, just as you are. In today's divisive times, I take refuge in our three treasures of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. When I get discouraged listening to the craziness going on in our world, it is my Jodo Shinshu connection that gets me through and makes me stronger inside. Can we add Ruth Tabra to our upena? Who are you adding to your upena, all of our upenas, as I share my experiences? And are you reflecting on your experiences in Jodo Shinshu? We have so many ancestors and giants in our community who we owe so much to. One more person to add to our upena, Reverend Irene Nakamoto. I met her 4 years ago as the chair of the Living Gratitude Committee, a newly formed Honganji group that is supporting our Honpa Honganji statewide through the three focus areas of educate, innovate, and sustain. And by the way, if you have a good idea to support one of these focus areas of educate, innovate, and sustain, we have some funds that can help you with your project. We have grant funds. So if you want to run a great idea or program that can share Jodo Shinshu beliefs with all, come see me later if you're interested, okay? I'll help you. Getting back to Reverend Irene. As a relative newcomer to Honganji, me, and living my little busy life in remote Kohala, I did not know that Irene is a Shin Buddhist minister. Someone had to tell me. Reverend Irene is a warm, compassionate, and humble person. And another cool thing about her, Reverend Irene, she makes amazing peanut butter balls. Right, Al? We enjoyed some last week. Anyway. I found an article written by Reverend Irene from a 2007 Hawaii Buddhist Women's Newsletter. Again, I was struck by her words. Quote, I think that joy of Nembutsu comes from the deep recesses of our being, where we feel sincere gratitude. Gratitude to be one with the Buddha. Gratitude in saying Namo Amida Butsu. Gratitude in living this life. And gratitude in being here and now. The joy of Nembutsu is that wonderful feeling of gratitude in the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So, and end quote. So Reverend Irene is an important addition for me today for our upena. I know that you added more wonderful people to our net. How can we not? Look around at all of us here today, celebrating Eshinni, Kakushinni, and all the pono and strong individuals in the world. The Kono Honganji Ohana and Reverend Blaine are for sure all in our upena. Keep adding and interconnecting with amazing souls in your lives. Invite them to our temples and to come as you are. Let's remember our Hawaii Honganji theme for this year, nurturing Nembutsu, sharing gratitude. I am so grateful to have had this opportunity to share my small story with you today. Mahalo.
Thank you for your Dharma message, Wendy. We will now have the offertory presentation. Thank you for your generosity, everyone. Susan Takayui will lead unison in reading of the BWA Pledge. Words can be found on the handout and on the screen. Please join her in reciting the words out loud.
The Buddhist Women's Pledge. Guided by Shinran Shonin's teachings, we share Amida Buddha's heartfelt wish for the happiness of all beings. We cherish listening deeply to the Dharma and endeavor to realize a world in which all are equally affirmed and valued. We live each moment within the embrace of Amida Buddha's infinite wisdom and compassion, grateful for all we receive. We welcome all with aloha to come as they are to the circle of Namu Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Please stand and we will conclude this service with the singing of the Gatha, Nembutsu.
Namandam, 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 Namandam.
You may be seated. This concludes today's service in honor of Our Lady Eshinni and Lady Kakushinni. Here are some announcements. Upcoming services and events. We have a call for flowers to decorate the Hanamido and Habib Buddha Day. Please drop your flowers off on Saturday, March 7th between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Buckets will be placed outside of the conference room near the temple bell. Next Sunday, March 8th, the Hawaii Island chapter of Hawaii Association of International Buddhists, or Habib, will sponsor the 14th annual Buddha Day celebration at 9:30 a.m. here at the Kona Honganji Temple. This year's featured speaker will be Trinidad Hunt. Following the service, refreshments will be held in the social hall. Entertainment will be provided by the musical group Special Guest from Honoka'a, Honganji. At 11 a.m., we will have a free film screening of Nawahine Buddha Kiakahi, the legacy of Hawaiian women Buddhists in the temple, followed by question and answers by producer John Matsuoka. Sunday, March 15th, we will observe spring Ohigan service at 10 a.m. Reverend Blaine will share a Dharma message. Sunday, March 22nd, regular Dharma family service will be held at 10 a.m. Minister's Assistant Linda Nagai will share a Dharma message. Sunday, March 29th, there is no service. Reverend Blaine and Linda will be attending the 15th BWA State Conference in Honolulu. Reminder, the Hawaii Island United BWA Scholarship deadline is April 5th, and the Kona Honganji BWA Scholarship deadline is April 15th. A big mahalo to everyone who helped host Gatha Fest last week. Special thanks to Sangha members Bart Aoki and Marty Lowe, along with the kitchen crew, for preparing a delicious bento lunch and for bringing special fortune cookies that contained a meaningful message all the way from San Francisco. Thank you as well to Lynn Katayama, Lisa Circo, and everyone who brought and prepared refreshments to welcome our visitors who traveled long distances from across the island to join us. It was a very successful event with wonderful food and great entertainment. Any other announcements, Reverend Blaine or anyone else?
So I just want to thank everybody for coming out last week, especially to celebrate Gatha Fest with us. Thankfully, we host every 4 years, so we don't have to host for another few years until it comes back around the island. Next year, it'll be held up in North Hawaii, so I'm not sure if Honoka'a will probably host, yeah. And so look forward to the last Sunday in February is Gatha Fest every year. So, but we had such a great time last week. It really was a beautiful day of singing and celebrating the Nembutsu and being together as Sangha. And that's really what I think, Wendy just reminded us about the coming as you are. That everybody who sang just came as you are, no matter how pretty or how not pretty the songs, our singing was. But hey, you know what? It's about being together as Sangha and about being together as a temple family. I want to thank Wendy for coming today. I did twist your arm to just a little bit to share her story, and you can see why I want her to share her story. I think she offers a great heart of understanding of this tradition, of the beauty of our sanghas, and that's the beauty of us, right? To being together. And so even though she went to the other high school in Hilo, but that's okay. But again, thank you everybody for joining us today to celebrate Eshinni and Kakushinni, right? We always talk about the men, right, in the tradition, Shinran, Renyo, but it's really these women, right, these mothers of Jodo Shinshu who really kept this tradition alive, right? And without them, we would not be able to receive these teachings today. And so this is why every year we take this moment to honor and to celebrate their remarkable achievements, right? And their efforts, right, to share the Dharma. Like each of us is capable of sharing the Dharma in our own lives. So thank you very much, everybody. So.
Those of you on,
I want to thank everyone for helping out the past 3 weeks. Yeah, we'll be maybe another week. The Rama is been a little weather, and hopefully she comes back in a couple of weeks. But she's recovering very well. But I'm out there calling everyone, please, can you cover for a half a day today, for Monday, Tuesday? So thank you so much for everyone that's come out to help, because it's really helped us a lot. Especially with Reverend Blaine being away many times, we have no one here at the temple. So, having someone there to answer the phone, greeting people who come, that really helps. So, thank thank you. I need one more day, not this week, next week, Friday, somebody can come 8 to 12. And then I'll give everybody a break the following week because it's spring break and I'll cover the whole week. Okay, so just if you can do one Friday, and it's Friday the 13th, but it's a good day. So Friday the 13th, if anyone can cover that day for from 8 to 12, I really appreciate it. And then everybody will have a wonderful vacation. And I'll go home. Thank you.
Those of you on Zoom, click on the Leave Meeting button when you are ready to leave. Those of you here in person, refreshments will be served in the conference room. A big mahalo to Susan Takayui, Blanche Hirashi, Linda Nagai, and anyone else who brought goodies to share. Thank you all for joining us. Please stay safe, and we hope to see you at next Sunday's Habib Buddha's Day. Remember, it starts at 9:30 a.m., so please come a half an hour earlier than usual.
Namandats, 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 namandats.